What's up, everybody? This is Talkative Carl back again for another Christmas movie review. And today I will be covering one of my childhood classics, Jingle All the Way, starring Sinbad, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jake Lloyd, the late Phil Hartman, uh, and Rita Wilson, and of course Jim Belushi as well. So it had like a pretty good cast. Unfortunately, Jake Lloyd, we all know he was also not only in this but in uh, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace as young Anakin Skywalker. But his life did not really shape out too well. I mean, you haven't heard anything recently from him. He seems like I think he's still in like a psychiatric thing. So like, not to put anything on like a downer, but it's just like, as far as we know, he's handling himself, in this facility. But it's just a shame how like sometimes Hollywood chews you up and spits you out when you're a child actor. Even one of the greatest, Macaulay Culkin, took him a while before he turned things around. Amanda Bynes and you know, don't know about Raven Simone, but it's just like certain child actors. It's like it's very rare, they turn out well adjusted. I think Justin Timberlake is probably the only one that comes to mind that did not turn out, you know, crappy or weird or, a a criminal or some, in some cases, it's just like very rare you get those kind of I mean Miley Cyrus to some extent, but it's like, man, it's a shame what happens to a lot of these child actors. Anyway, the movie began. I mean, first and foremost, I know a lot of people give this movie crap. When this movie was released, it did do gangbusters. It made his money back, but critical responses, and I get it. A lot of people mention how the tone was uneven, and there is making like there is like a running thing, which some people don't think it kind of falls flat, but in my personal opinion, it really does not. Especially how this movie was released in 1996. A lot has changed, and it's kind of like with Batman Forever with the Riddler's Nigmatak box. It's like it was kind of ahead of its time as far as like speaking about certain things, and we're still dealing with it to this day about materialism or commercialism, I should say. But Arnold Schwarzenegger stars as Howard, a workaholic dad who misses his son's karate, competition because he's been like just working, and it's like a funny moment when it's like, there's funny moments in this, and it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like a case by case basis with some people, but there's been people I talked to who love Jingle All the Way, and they found hilarity in it, and it's just like it's still, it would be put among the classics like Home Alone and like A Christmas Carol or Scrooged or like A Year Without Santa Claus and A Charlie Brown Christmas. It definitely deserves to be on that list because it's a fun one. It's not like a stellar movie or anything like that. Most Christmas movies aren't, but it's still a classic because it's like it hit that whimsy. It hit that, it definitely got the nostalgia at this point, but it hit the right beats. And especially you got like, a star like Arnold Schwarzenegger who's playing a role that's not your typical action, flick. This is, something that's like he's, a family friendly type of element that really stresses his like acting chops a bit. Cause like, you got like Kindergarten Cop and other stuff that's not like he's playing against type in a way, and I don't hate him in this. He actually does pretty well in this, in my opinion. And some people have like a lot to say about Sinbad's role in this, and I see what they're saying, but personally, it's not. His. It's gonna be like this. If there's one con I had about Sinbad, I will get to it. Hey Nick, I will get to it, but I gotta say, like Sinbad, unlike other people, don't slow the momentum for me in this movie whatsoever. Some of the jokes are hit and miss. I agree to that, but I still get a chuckle every once in a while. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger tried to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Howard tried to make it to his son's karate, competition, and of course, it's your typical kind of movie, family movie where it's like the workaholic parent kind of situation. And he means well, but it's like he gets so focused on work and provide for the family, he's not seeing that he's ignoring his family or not like spending enough time with them. So as he comes home, he's got a disappointing wife and a disappointing son, and of course he makes it up to his son as like he apologizes and he's like, is there anything you want for Christmas? I'll get it. I'll make this up to you. And he tells him about this Turbo Man doll. And of course, he's like all into Turbo Man. And it's like some funky version of what the Power Rangers are. And it's like, you obviously can tell when he's watching this, he got like, Turbo Man cereal and like Turbo Man TV show and Turbo Man doll and Turbo Man. And you got Turbo Man comic book and stuff like that. And it's like, I get it. Like, we all been there as kids. There's always that comic, TV show, what have you, that kind of like, permeated your life for a standing time or even to this day. I had that with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman the Animated Series. I got all these comic books and like, action figures and stuff like that. The 3D Transformers TV show, like I got a kick out of that. Power Rangers, I got a kick out of that. I watched a lot of Power Rangers as a kid. So we all been there where Jamie is, in this thing. So it's like, of course he would like tell his father, like, I want the new Turbo Man doll with all, with the Rock'em Sock'em jetpack and then the realistic voice box. We all been there. And it's like, I want to mention this before I end up forgetting. When I got my PS5 earlier this year in April, and like this, I had to spend twice as much than your standard price. Well, not standard price, but the digital price of what it should have cost. And it immediately reminded me of like Turbo Man, how like this is like a PS5, to this day right now, it's still like a sought after console. It's very hard to get, and it's just like giving me Turbo Man vibes that everybody and their mom was trying to go out their way and get this sucker. And it's like Carlos on the arm and a leg, and it's like, crashing websites, and everybody's trying to get their hands on it and can't find it in stores and everything like that. And families are breaking their backs trying to get this for their kid or whatever. And it's like that's what I mentioned. It's like how this whole theme of like getting your kid like the right gift, and like especially if it's the hottest toy or video game of the year, you want to like make their birthday or Christmas the best, and you need to like try to get this thing. And my stepmother got a PS5 for my younger brother almost like a month and a half after I got mine, and it still cost about the same amount on the Walmart website, thanks to the third-party retailer. And it's like, it's going to probably be like that for a good long while. It doesn't look like it's going to be changing anytime soon for people. As a matter of fact, I want to run a test here. Right here and now, I'm going to go on the Walmart website and check. It was December. I obviously doubt it's going to be, any luck than it was earlier in the year. But it's twice as probably rough right now. But I want to check and see, like the Xbox Series S, which I also got prior to the PS5. But I want to check and see More than likely. Well, holy shit! I guess like the Xbox Series S is like available for purchase now, so it's probably a good idea to get the new Xbox console now. But the PS5, let's check and see. I'm surprised about the Xbox even still being available. Holy shit! I think it's holy crap! It's actually looks like there actually is available purchase. So I'm letting you know right now, if you still haven't gotten your new console yet, you might want to jump on it now, especially for the holidays. But you still got your, the price range is correct and what you expect from the Xbox, but the PS5 you gonna be costing like $1,000, Charlie. So yeah, I hope you saved up. But I'm surprised it's even like available for purchase at this point. After like since late last year when it was released unexpectedly, and up until I don't know how recently, where it's like it was hard to find. But yeah, this was like extremely hard. The PS5 especially was extremely hard to get. It's like websites crash and everything like that. So it's like it's the Turbo Man of right now. And it's, prior to that, it's probably part of the PS4 and like, whatever hot new doll, the little girls like, or, or action figure little boys like, or, skateboard or bicycle. It's almost every little hot thing that came out for a year that everybody, want to get their hands on for the kid. So, it's telling something. It's like, it's, commenting on something. And we all been there. And it's like, that's not nothing. Could it be elaborated a little bit more on? Sure, but I think it's kind of one of those moments where you gotta kind of like dealer's choice, and if you want it like subtly hinted at so you can get the understanding without being told to you, or do you want to be told to you so you can actually have some better explanation? But I think it said what it needed to be said, and you should be able to infer it. So he's telling his father about like, okay, like this Turbo Man I wanted for Christmas. That's what I want. And he probably should have. I mean, I want to say he's like a bad father, but he's definitely like not paying attention to as a kid. Cause like I remember as a kid when I got into like Yu-Gi-Oh for the first time. It was the first time like that I at least recalled. I'm pretty sure there's been other moments prior to this, but the first time that I actually recalled and it's kind of tattooed in my memory, where like the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh came out, right at Duelist Kingdom arc situation. I got my father got me the first set of like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I remember it was in our grandmother's house, and I was playing on the living room table, and my father was telling me, of course he wasn't really that interested, but he was interested in the fact that I was interested, and I was trying to teach him how to play. And this of course was like very fundamental stuff. Even I was just ascertaining the rules as it's supposed to be. And I remember him telling him how the Exodia pieces worked, and how like you automatically win if you get all these 5 pieces in your hand. But other than that, you're gonna have to like win other ways, or at least try to get this stuff. Otherwise, that kind of thing. You won't be able to win automatically. But I remember telling him that, and I was like, I was Jamie at that moment. I was, like so like excited telling him about the stuff because I'm still super into Yu-Gi-Oh, and like matter of fact, like I mentioned constantly before, I will on the channel do like some there's gonna be a lot of card openings, booster packs and boxes opening within like a couple of weeks at least, probably sometime before Christmas, and I will be doing it on the channel. So definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl, and follow me on my other links in the description, twitch.tv/talkativecarl for all my live video game walkthroughs if you want to watch me live and chat, and as well as follow me on my Twitter where I announce new videos or when I'm live, if you want to join in on discussions, and as well as if you want to further support the channel, definitely check out my Patreon. That's patreon.com/talkativecarl. Now, so later on when Howard and his wife was about to go to bed, and she mentions to him like, did you get the doll? It's like, the doll, and you see this like little kind of sort of funny shot where like he get these little subtle JoJo Bizarre Adventure kind of expressions like, the doll? Yeah, because I told you about a week ago you should get the doll, because by this point it's probably impossible to get. Of course he lied, telling him like, yeah, I got the doll. Of course I got the doll. And so next day he had to spend, instead of spending Christmas Eve going to this, getting prepared to go to this parade they supposed to go every year, but he missed out on the last two. He promised Jamie like, yeah, I'll be there, because he has to pick up the doll from his job because he left it there by accident. He doesn't want to later on that he lied and he completely forgot about getting this doggone doll for his kid after his wife explicitly explained to him to do so a week ahead of time. So, and of course you got like Phil Hartman's character, who's pretty much like a misogynistic pig. Not misogynistic. He's kind of like the neighborhood male slut, and it's kind of like banging all the wives in the neighborhood, and just a complete slime ball. And of course he has a son too, who's frenemy, not even friends. I mean, like they try to portray them as like will be friends, but it's kind of like the Phil Hartman's kid is like just as much of a jerk as his father, just kind of like could easily be like a bully being forced to be friends with the kid he's picking on kind of situation. He's a non-entity, that kid, so you don't really need to bring him up. So all the while Howard's out, you see like Phil Hartman's character trying to like put the moves on Howard's wife and eating his cookies. Get the classic line, "Put the cookie down." It's like classic Arnold, and like knowing full well like Arnold can easily break this man in half. But kudos to Arnold's acting chops. Like he has that. I like that whole demeanor when he's trying to like you can see behind his eyes constantly he wants to punch this dude, just like in True Lies when he in that car test driving, he punched Bill Paxton in the face. That's what he wants to do in his head, but of course he didn't really do it. He trying to compose himself. It would be hilarious if he envisioned that exact same scenario, but like on Phil Hartman. But it's like, but even though they don't show it because it's a kid's film, you can tell behind his eyes that's what he wanted to do. But he's like, he composed and is like, what do I do without you? And then he's like, he obviously doesn't like him, but it's just like he's composing himself just because he's like, he's trying to be adult about this. It's like, he's an ass. It's not something like you can, you're not gonna beat him up for just saying stuff. But he pulls away and tries to drive to a store trying to find the Turbo Man doll, and not acknowledging the fact that his wife just told him that it's going by this point it's going to probably be hard to get. And so, but he still tries anyway. And so he's waiting outside with a bunch of other people at the store, and he meets up with Sinbad. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of the film, where Sinbad and Sinbad's character, what's his name, Myron Larrabee, and it's like that awesome interaction where it's like he's chumming up with Howard. It's like he's playing. It's like, yeah, like I was I'm trying to get this doll for my kid, even though that's one of the complaints, and I kind of rewatching this, that we never got to see Myron's kid, and it'll be it'll add a little bit more to the film if we actually get to see Myron's POV for a few minutes about him like on the phone with his kids. I'm like, I'm going to get this. You can give Myron more added weight into his gung-ho mission of getting this, because he plays like a cartoon, like Tom and Jerry kind of situation. We're trying to get at this object, but you don't see, like, you hear about his motivation, but it'll probably add a little bit more if you actually get to see at least one scene with his son, and see like his son really want that about as much as Jamie wants it. You want to see that Jamie like character in Myron's kid, and you got these two opposing dads trying to make sure their kid gets a happy Christmas. But we don't get that. But you get like just like but you get like the explanation. But finally, once they are let in, of course, all the shells are barren. There's no Turbo Man, but this funky saber-tooth bear tiger thingy, with the jetpack, this ugly little thing called Booster that nobody apparently likes, and even the kids like beat up a mascot, dressed as Booster, and like nobody likes you, Booster, and like, man, like fuck Booster, and Myron Howard is like standing in the middle of the store, and is like asking like the employees, like, where are the Turbo Man dolls? I'm looking for a Turbo Man doll, and they just started laughing at them, and it's like and it always like gets me when that one employee is like, it's like, you never see this from, like, I worked retail before, and like you'll never see any one of us act this way, because this is a complete dick thing to do. And it's like, Turbo Man is only the hottest thing in the world. And it's like, dude, it's like, you will get puffed in your mouth. And it's like, don't ever do that to somebody, like that. What the hell is wrong with you? And it's like, you laugh at them. And so, of course, Arnold, being Arnold, picks them up, and it's like, where's your Christmas spirit? Now, where's like Turbo Man doll? And then they mentioned about like this old lady, fur coat, took the last one. And so they both trying to go after this old lady. So you really gonna like what? Like try to buy off or take an old lady's Turbo Man dolls you probably getting for a grandkid? But of course you get to see like these cat and mouse antics with Arnold and Sinbad, which is hilarious. It's just like it's just something in it where it kind of like gets me giddy, and it's like I like it. I like the tit for tat between these two, and it's childish and funny, just like just grown men just being childish trying to get at an object, and it just makes it fun to watch. It's just the good stupidity. It's good stupidity, and so you see, and of course, you see Howard going store to store with other employees laughing at you, trying to shove Booster in his face, and he's getting frustrated because it's like, there's no Turbo Man around. He's driving all over the place. He's wasting time. He's trying to get back in time for the parade, and so he meets up with Sinbad again, or Myron again, and Myron's trying to say like, oh, we should team up, like Johnny Quest and Haji, and Batman and Robin. And I was like, no, I want to take care of this myself. And then of course Myron taking offense to this, and he plays to this trope because he's a mailman. He plays to this trope of like, because it's always been, I don't know sure if it's that kind of trope like that in these days, but back then, 80s and 90s, there's like this whole disgruntled postman or getting postal. Hey Barbara, how you doing? This is your first time being here? He plays the trope of the disgruntled like postman, so he's plays to that joke where it's like he's kind of like a little bit out there, but it's just in a funny way, because in a Sinbad way. And so they both like going after this Turboman doll by any means necessary, and they go to this other store who's doing this kind of contest where you collect this yellow ball and you get the last Superman doll. And of course, like, you get all these parents fighting over these different colored balls trying to find the yellow one. And then of course, as Arnold's, or Howard's, trying to get one, it gets out of his hands. This super ball is bouncing all over the place and then lands in this kid's lap. And he's chasing out this kid into a ball pit and getting his butt kicked by all these mothers, calling him a pervert. This is like a funny little moment. He's just like, he's that desperate to the point where he's like trying to steal like a super ball from a kid. That's where he bumps into Jim Belushi's character, this con man dressed as a Santa Claus. And he mentions like, if you got the cash, I got the doll, we'll do an exchange. So he takes, Jim Belushi and his elf to this old factory where these bunch of mall Santas, or these con man Santas, who are who are like, pulling off these toys as actual toys, but they're kind of like junk. And so there's a big scuffle, and then the cops start raiding the place, and then you see like an awesome moment. And there's another one of my other funny favorite moments where it's like it's unprecedented to have this be like a real thing to actually happen. But he takes one of these toy badges out of a bin and is like, quickly flash it, Detective Hard Lang. This is the sloppiest bus I've ever seen on the force. Like, go out there and arrest somebody. And wait till the commissioner hears about this. He's gonna hit the roof. And it's like he just walks right out of there. That was just like, it's stupid, unlikely, but funny, man. Every time I see this, it's like, I get a kick out of that. That is, a great moment. I love it. I love it. And of course, he's driving and like, he's running out of gas, like, and partway into the city, and he's stopping at this diner. He's trying to call, get in touch with his wife, but Jamie picks up the phone, and of course, as Jamie's going on about like, keeping your promises, that's what Toberman always says, and then it's not cool, but I'm not a parent, but like, from what I hear from other parents, it's like there's gonna be moments when you snap at your kid, and like that's what you see from Howard. Is like he didn't mean to, but it's just he's at his wit's end with all this crap and trying to get this Turbo Man doll, and every which way is making it more difficult. He's going these wild, crazy adventures that he doesn't want to be a part of, and getting beat up by con man Santas, and like beat up by moms trying to get a Super Bowl to win a contest just to get this Turbo Man, and like going constantly store to store. You can tell he's just exhausted, and in his exhaustion, he's taking out on his kid, in which his kid like hangs up the phone. And if I gotta mention like a one con so far out of this, like another con out of this film, the wife, Rita's uh, role in this, she really does not offer much to this movie. To be honest with you, she's kind of like she's just like there, just to like not nag, but it's like, you gotta be there, Howard, or like the only awesome moment I like for her is when she kind of like throws coffee or hot chocolate or something in Phil Harmer's face when he's trying to put the moves on her. Because he obviously like not one of those housewives that he's banging in the neighborhood, because she ain't with that, which is kudos to her. But it's like beyond that, she's just like this is like not a non-entity like Phil Harmer's kid, but it's kind of like she could have done more, or at least provided more in her performance, but I guess it's not what it was asked of her. But Howard's soaking at the diner drinking coffee, and like of course he sees Myron there already, and it's like, the temporary truce while they take a respite. And it'd be nice to see like Myron's point of view, what he's been through, while Howard's doing this whole thing with his con man and everything like that, and see what kind of like crap that led him to this diner while he's trying to rest, because he's probably been through some weird crap. And they sitting there going off on these stories when like Howard's telling him about the time when he built his son a treehouse, even though the door was a little rickety. It was the best thing. He loved it. My son even made us have Christmas in it. I was the hero then, but look at me now. And then Myron talking about how like back in the day when like his father, like he wanted him to get this like this toy gun that got 7 guns in one, and it's like it looked like a blast, but his father disappointed him not getting it. And like this big CEO of this toy company used to live next door to him when they were children, and his father got him that toy, and look at him now. Which, upon hearing it, it's like how that correlates. I mean, like you get one toy, and then how that's supposed to like. I'm pretty sure he probably played with that thing for like a few months, at least upon until his following birthday or following Christmas, where it's like, something else hot that he wanted that year. Like, you don't know that toy gun offer any significance in his life. It's just probably his point of view, but obviously it's not. Upon thinking about it now, it's probably not about the toy specifically. It's probably like in my opinion, I think it's kind of like a symbolism as far as like, his father came through for him, and that, matter of fact, that kind of tracks. It's not the toy that kind of shaped the kid's life into like a successful businessman. It's the fact that his father, came out in the end for him when the kid needed him, and it kind of informed him in his life and seeded that, make him like a better, well-adjusted human adult. While Myron's father, with I guess being a constant disappointment, caused him to grow up in not as shitty to his kid, but it's just like he is going out of his way to make sure his kid doesn't have a crappy childhood like he had. But it's like, fathers, had like one job, not to disappoint that kid or screw up, and still end up screwing up. But it's like, it's kind of true. Like, now there's no perfect parent in the world. And like the best you can do is try to minimize, the negative parts of parenting, like snapping at your kids, for no good reason. You can't help it, but try to make sure you do that to a minimum, or like, try to minimize disappointing your kid as much as possible. It's all about, I guess, at least in my perspective, I'm not a parent or anything, but like, the day comes when I want to at least try I'm not gonna try to be a perfect parent. I'm gonna try to minimize screw ups. I know it's gonna be screw ups, but I want to make sure like at least minimize that to at least make sure my kid, doesn't grow up resenting or hating or like be unadjusted, in his or her adult life. Of course, while they going, this back and forth with these stories and how is hallucinating, thinking like, oh my god, if I don't come through to my kid, he's gonna grow up like Myron. And they hear over the radio about this little contest about like name all of Santa's reindeer, you win a Turbo Man doll. And of course, they run to the payphone and they try to call the thing. Then the guy, the cook at the diner says like, yo, the radio station is just like a few blocks away. And then of course they try to run to the station. Of course, Myron being a little bit heavier than Arnold, of course Arnold makes it before him. And then you see Martin Mull as like the radio jockey, and it's like dancer, prancer, dancer, prancer, vixen, comic cure, Donna Blitzen, they got him all. I won, right? And then like you see Myron come in, and like another awesome moment where it's like he fakes having a bomb in his hand, and he's trying to appeal to Myron. It's like, you made a bomb? I don't have to make a bomb. You know how many of these things we come through in the mail, like every day, and like I just kept one in case I ever needed it. So, you gonna give me that Turbo Man doll? I was like, it's not worth it, Myron. It's like, come on, buddy. I ain't your buddy. I try to be a friend, but no, you had other plans. And oh my god, this entire scene leading on to the next scene is so good and so hilarious, and it's dumb, but it's good dumb, and it's like I crack up every time. It's just like I wish that Sinbad and Arnold did more stuff together, because they kind of play off each other pretty good. But then the radio jockey, they found out like the thing was fake, but the radio jockey mentions that I don't have a Turbo Man doll here. I mentioned on the radio that you'll get a Turbo Man doll eventually. What we have here is coupons for all that stuff. And then of course the cops come, because he called the cops because Howard come in like a madman, and they get busted by the cops, and then Myron pulls the bomb gag on them so they can get away. But it turns out to be a regular bomb, which is another funny moment, as like this cop that constantly is bumping into Howard. At least this is the third time bumping into Howard so far. And so he's opened up the package, and it turns out to be an actual bomb, but not a devastating bomb, but just enough to like but it's like a cartoon. It's like a bomb in a cartoon where it's like nobody's dead, but it's like the guy opening up the package is full of like soot and everything like that, and the hallway is like kind of busted up, while the other officers is looking on his stupid butt as he claims to be like a bomb defusal expert. Then of course you see like at the moment where it's like the Perry is going to be starting up, and like soon, and then Howard goes back home. Think he's going to be like disappointed as a kid because he did not get that doggone doll, and he's his kid already mad at him at this point for yelling at him. Then he realized that Phil Hartman's kid he got his kid a Turbo Man doll that's clearly, as Phil earlier in the film mentions that he got it like months ago and is under his tree, and he's was attempting to steal another kid's Turbo Man doll to give to his own kid, and he's like, he paused and stopped himself. It's like he come to realization that like, okay, I'm definitely going too far. Like I cannot steal another kid's Christmas to make my son happy. It's not right. And it's like finally comes to grips with the fact that, you know what, I'd rather, you know, disappoint them honorably with my head held high rather than ruining another kid's Christmas just to make my kid happy. And that's just like all kinds of messed up. So he puts the stuff back, and then this reindeer that Phil Hartman rented to, you know, give his son like a very memorable Christmas, but it's just, you know, prostrating, amongst like the wives in the neighborhood, looking like, oh, he's such a good dad and everything like that. He's so full of shit. And the reindeer pretty much trying to attack him, and then causes all this destruction, which, how his wife and, the kids and Phil sees all this. And then, of course, the jig is up. He lied, and like now he's like, wallowing in his self-pity. Then he sees like the parade, and the turbo, the guy who's supposed to be, as Turbo Man, supposed to be giving out like a free Turbo Man doll to a kid of his choosing. So he goes to the parade, but then he ends up getting caught up and put into the costume, and now he's in the parade, and he got the toy. And now he sees his son Jamie in the crowd. He picked him out, and then here comes Myron in like the Turbo Man's arch nemesis. Don't know, I can't remember what the nemesis is, but then you see this like scuffle between Howard, Jamie, and Myron, and it's like they think it's part of the show. The onlookers think it's part of the show, and then it's like Jamie's, refusing to give up the freaking toy at this point when some strange grown man is trying to come after him just to get that sucker. And he's climbing on top of buildings and, fire escapes and stuff like that. And it's like, and that's another thing. This kid is freaking weird at this point. Now, normally, when we get to this part when the parade portion of the movie, that's when I usually am like shut off at this point. All the fun stuff that I've been enjoying so far in this movie, it stops at the parade. At this moment moving forward, it's like kind of drags for me, honestly. I can't explain why. Maybe it's just like you kind of jumped the shark of goofiness, because now somehow, this parade providing whoever's supposed to be in the costume of the Turbo Man doll with a fully functioning jetpack, like a proto Iron Man in a way. And it's like, how in the hell is that even like a thing? This is going a little bit too far into cartoony. But Howard gains the control, saves Jamie, and stops Myron. And he reveals himself. He gives Jamie the toy, and then in an act of like kindness, Jamie hands the Turbo Man doll to Myron so he can give to his son, saying like, why would I need a Turbo Man doll when I got the real one at home? And it's like, yeah, that was probably like the cringiest thing. I mean, I get the point. It's the fact that Jamie learns that, in a way that, my father's the hero, not this thing. And it's important to you to, make sure it's like an act of kindness, a random act of kindness upon Jamie's part, where it's like he's want to make sure this other dad gives his kid a happy Christmas, and I'm just satisfied with the fact that I have a hero like my father, a real one, and that's what they're coming across. I wish they did it better. And that's what I'm saying. Like, upon like the parade portion towards the end credits, it's like kind of slows things down for me. And of course, they actually have a post-credit scene, which I didn't know they even called it that. It took me, as a kid, it took me a while to realize there was like an end scene. I found out when I saw this as a kid. I didn't see it in a theater, but I had it on VHS. And someone had to tell me there's like an end scene, and I had to rush through the credits and to see that. And you see like how his wife's mentioning on Christmas mornings, like, wow, you went through all that just for Jamie's gift. Like, I'm wondering what you got from me. And he comes to realize, oh my God, I didn't get my wife anything. It's like, how dense are you? Or at least, how much have you been working? Just the fact that you completely neglected your entire family on Christmas, dude. And it's like, at no point, like, you having a Christmas party at your job, you'll think, like, my next paycheck's like, you know, like, I'm coming off to work, I better stop at the store and get my wife something. And it's like, and my kids something. And it's like, you cannot forget something like that. That's like, should be physically impossible unless you got like dementia or something. That's the only excuse as far as like being able to like not remember, working so much to not remember that your family needs presents. And I'm pretty sure you went through Halloween and Thanksgiving, and of course, everybody's counting the days for Christmas. That kind of thing should be resonating in your brain, at least at some point. But anyway, by and large, if I give this movie any kind of grade, I give it a B minus. It's fairly average. It's still like a decent Christmas movie, but like to this day, I still like my ending of this movie. It begins at It begins after you see Howard at his job, and it ends when they get to the parade. Everything beyond those points, towards like opening credits where you see like the pseudo Power Rangers S opening, and then the moment of the parade. Those two things I can do without. Those things kind of take me out of the film. But everything in between, I'm all in. That is the movie to me. But let me know what you guys think of Jingle All the Way. I'm not sure how many of you consider this your favorite Christmas movie, but like, where would you put it as far as like your list of Christmas movie? Do you put it in the classics, or does it suck? Does it suck? As far as like a movie period. I'm curious to know what your guys' thoughts are. But don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on my Patreon, patreon.com/talkativecarl, if you want to further support the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow for not only to let you know my experience at E3 this year and show you off my merch that I'll end up buying there, but I also finished up Card Captors, and I'm going to do a spoiler review of that as well tomorrow. I did like a 2 seasons in 1 for you guys on this particular thing. So look forward to that for tomorrow. So thank you all. I will see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great night.